Dragon Quest has new life in the West, and that's a good thing. Welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Taylor Hoyt, and today is all about Dragon Quest. We're going to talk all about Dragon Quest, kind of how it's gotten a resurgence of life in the West, and just sort of the outlook for the series going forward. And the reason why we're talking about Dragon Quest this week is because a new Dragon Quest game is coming out this week. Dragon Quest VII: Fragments of the Forgotten Past for the Nintendo 3DS. It's a remake of Dragon Quest VII, or I guess technically Dragon Warrior 7 on the PlayStation 1 here in the West. And you know, it's really interesting because Dragon Quest, they were giving us all of those games, right? We were getting all the DS games. We got Dragon Warrior 7 on PS1. We got Dragon Quest 8 on PS2, we got Dragon Quest 9 on DS, and I feel like those games did progressively better as time went on. And then 10, the MMO, they decided not to release it here, maybe understandably so, because it's not as big as Final Fantasy or whatever. And then they were doing all the remakes on DS, and then they just kind of stopped for a while. You know, they had the Dragon Quest VII remake. That came out in Japan a while ago. I don't have the exact date, but I know that came out a while ago. I want to say 2 or 3 years ago now, maybe. And I know the big thing with Dragon Quest VII is that translation is absolutely massive. I mean, there's this image floating around online that I'll probably show on the screen. It's basically just a giant shelf full of folders and text, and that is the game's script, and it's just massive, absolutely massive. And that was part of the reason why they didn't want to translate this game, is because, hey, you know, this game is too big, we don't have the time, we don't have the resources, and this game may not even have a chance out here. People might not even buy it, but it's coming, and it's coming out this week, like I said, and you know, Dragon Quest has new life. So let's kind of start with Dragon Quest Heroes. This is a game that came out last year. You know, it's a Dynasty Warrior style game, or a Musou style game, where there's lots of enemies on the screen. And you're just hacking and slashing them all up. This game had a couple original characters. It had some unique modes where, you know, it was sort of tower defense-y in the sense that you could collect monsters and you could drop them down and they would attack for you and kind of help your team. And instead of just being on your own, you had a party of 4, so your party could help you. And you play with, you know, familiar Dragon Quest characters. So it was sort of like a, you know, a Smash Brothers, if you will, style, or, you know, collection of characters in that sense for Dragon Quest. And, you know, I don't think it sold amazingly well, but because it was more of an action-oriented game and there wasn't a lot of text, that they probably figured, hey, that'll be easy to translate. And the thing was, they even did voiceovers. They got people to do this really amazing voiceover work for Dragon Quest Heroes. You know, I played maybe 4 or 5 hours of that game, and yeah, it was impressive, and I had some fun with it, for sure. And you know, I've played Dragon Quest VII in the past on PS1, and it was really archaic. You know, that game came out after Final Fantasy VII. I want to say it even came out after Final Fantasy VIII in the West. And you know, graphically, it's not a very technically impressive game. You know, it's almost sprite-based in a way. And there were sprite games, you know, like Grandia and Tales of Destiny that looked better than Dragon Quest, at least in my opinion. And I just think it wasn't appealing, and it's also really long. Apparently, the core experience is like over 100 hours, 120 hours, so it's really, really long. And I think that might have turned people off to that game. But now that it's been remade, had upscaled, well, I guess remade graphics. It wasn't upscaled. They have completely new visuals. It looks like more of a game that fits on 3DS. You know, proportional character models, a little bit more of a lush world. And I don't think that game had voice acting, or it will. So that might help. So, you know, we're getting that game that's really exciting. And so guys, this game, I'm assuming this video will come out on a Tuesday, the week this game releases, which will be on Friday in the West. So I'm telling you guys, please order Dragon Quest VII to help support this game, because all they know is sales. Hey, if it sells well, that means they want more. We can tweet all we want, we can make these types of videos all we want, but the only thing that really matters to Nintendo and Square Enix and people making these JRPGs is, you know, buying the stuff. So I've got mine on pre-order. I plan on picking it up. I may not play it right away, but it's, you know, it's a game I at least want to support and check out. You know, next we've got, believe it or not, another Dragon Quest game coming out this year with Dragon Quest Builders. And I think of all these new Dragon Quest games coming out, this is the one that has the biggest potential to do really well. Because, obviously Minecraft is a huge hit in the West. It's just a game where you can go off and make your own fun, explore, everything is kind of randomly generated. With Dragon Quest Builders, it's a little bit more structured. There's a story, and it sends you on these quests, but it's in the same vein, it's like Minecraft, where you farm materials and you build it up, but it's got, at least for me, a bit more of an appealing art style. Kind of that Toriyama Dragon Ball Z Dragon Quest art style that the series is known for. And so you're going out, you collect the materials, you're building towns up, because apparently towns are destroyed, and so this game's all about getting materials, building these towns up. And I don't know if it has to be built in a specific way. I'm hoping it doesn't, but I think that might be part of the fun, is that you get to build these towns how you want. You just need to kind of put them in a certain way, kind of like Dark Cloud, where people wanted to be next to each other. You could kind of arrange the town how you want, as long as it was in these kind of vague parameters. So I'm hoping that's what it's like. I'm hoping there's towns where you could really go crazy, maybe make your own town that doesn't have any, doesn't require any type of parameters. You can just do whatever you want. That would be a lot of fun. To me, that's what would be fun about it. So again, like I said, this is a little bit more structured. I'm hoping it has, like a structured story where it helps explain the mechanics, it helps explain how you build things, but then at some point it just lets you loose and lets you do whatever you want, because that's what I would really be excited about. I've got a couple games that I'm super excited about this fall, and Dragon Quest Builders is one of them. It's been one of the games that every time I see it, it looks even better. Incredible art style, and they're bringing it to Vita, which is so crazy, because everybody's saying, Square Enix, they don't support the Vita. They didn't put I Am Setsuna on the Vita. They're not porting these things to Vita, but here we go. They're bringing Dragon Quest Builders to Vita, and I think it's digital only, but hey, better than nothing for all you Vita fans out there. We still have the Dragon Quest VIII, I would call it a demake. I think it looks worse than on the 3DS than it does the PS2 version. I really wish that would have been an HD port on Vita and PS4. That would have been unbelievable. It would look so good. But instead, they decided to downport it to 3DS, probably with some contract with Nintendo. And that, of all the Dragon Quest games, that's the one I played the most on PS2. I never finished it, but I loved that world, I loved the style, I loved the music. It was just a beautiful game. And I think in the West, that is the one that most people seem to like the most. Is Dragon Quest VIII, with the story and the characters and the world and all that. So they didn't give a specific date in the recent Nintendo Direct, but they did say 2017, which I think is technically a delay. But in any event, I'm excited to maybe dig into that again. I buy all these JRPGs, don't always beat them, but because I'm going for a complete 3DS collection, I'll probably end up getting this Dragon Quest game anyway. And we have 2 more games, potentially 3 on the horizon, that are probably coming to the West. So there's another Dragon Quest Heroes that is not out in Japan yet, as far as I know. We'll probably get that one. If we got the first one, I am sure we're gonna get the second one. I think there's rumors that they're porting Dragon Quest X, which is the MMO, to like PS4 and NX and a few other things. In fact, I wanna say it even got ported to like 3DS or something weird. I could be totally wrong on that, but I swear I heard something about that. Because right now it's on Wii U, and PC. And I'm kind of on this weird MMO kick. I would actually be kind of into a Dragon Quest MMO like on PS4. That would be super cool. But of course, the big one that I think most people are the most excited for is Dragon Quest XI. There's going to be a 3DS version, but I think the one that everybody in the West is excited about is the big open world PS4 version. They haven't really shown much of that in a while. I remember it was either last year or maybe even the year before at some special event, and there's this footage of the main character going through this town that hasn't really been populated yet, and then kind of walking through this valley with this really beautiful waterfall. So hopefully either at this year's TGS or at some event coming up, they'll show more of Dragon Quest on PS4, and I feel like that's the one they're definitely going to bring to the West, because they got the 3DS version for Japan, and then they've got the PS4 version for the West that that we can enjoy. We like those open world games, the bigger experiences. So, I've never really been the biggest Dragon Quest fan, but I've always really wanted to get into it because I love that Toriyama art style. I love kind of the worlds and just the charm of it. That's like a really classic JRPG series. It's like the classic JRPG series. And I really want to get into it. So I'm hoping that 7 hooks me. And if not with 7, Builders. And if not with Builders, then 11. I feel like there's a game out there for me that could really pull me into the series. So guys, Dragon Quest is alive and well in the West because it was looking dark for a while. There were years and years that went by where we didn't get any Dragon Quest games, but now we've got more than we can handle, So guys, I'd love to know your history with the Dragon Quest series. Is it a series that you hold really dear to your heart? Do you love it? Are you really excited about this new life? Is it one that maybe you've never played before? All those games came out before you really got into games or into JRPGs. And you're excited about these 3DS remakes or eventually 11 on PS4. So love to hear what you guys think about Dragon Quest, what you think of its new life, and just your experience with the series. So that is going to do it for today's show. You can find me on Twitter at Taylor's Shelf. I usually respond to all tweets as long as you're nice. If you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like. It always helps spread the word, and yeah, it feels good to see that many likes. And if you're a new viewer, have never seen this show before, never seen my channel before, maybe go check out some other videos on the channel and consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun on this channel, talking about JRPGs, talking about Japanese games. And then sometimes I make videos like playing on easy mode that nobody watches. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week with another episode of Taylor Time.